Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast, helping you achieve financial independence through real estate investing, one episode at a time. We talk about personal finance, mindset, and real estate investing. Whether you're a rookie or looking to scale your portfolio, we're here to provide you with the tactics and actionable steps to achieve your goals. Here are your hosts, Diego Corzo and Ward Mahoney.
Welcome to another episode of the FI Investors Podcast. Today on this episode of our Financially Free Friday episode, we'll be going over Diego's 33 lessons for his 33rd birthday.
Yeah.
So before we kick it off, Diego, what's up, brother?
What is up, Ward? Very happy to be here. I know we celebrated my birthday, and one of the things that I wanted to do this year that I haven't done before was write down 33 lessons that I've learned. And I also gave 3 bonus ones just because I had like a list of 50 and I was like, I need to chunk down, pick the best. I wanted to share something and thank you because you were the one that helped me put it all together too, so that it's very easily shareable. So for anybody, check out, follow me on Instagram at Real Diego Corzo, and you'll be able to see all 33 of them, all of those lessons. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So I know that today we're going to be going over just the top 10. So that for anybody that wants to check out the rest, definitely can check out the post, or they can also send us a DM with the number 33, and we'll send you the PDF of all of those 33 tips and lessons for everything that I shared on that post. Mm-hmm. So number 1 is actually number 1 of the post. That's one that I do want to share, and it says, "It's not who you are that holds you back. Is who you think that you are not." It is not who you are that holds you back, is who you think you are not. I really like that one because a lot of people, their limiting beliefs is what holds them back because they don't think that they can do it. Right? And that's why I always mention you want to become that person that achieves financial freedom, because you want to, you need to ingrain that in your head because you don't have it, so you're not financially free, right? But you want to grow into becoming that person. A lot of people would say, "Well, I'm not a real estate investor. I have no friends that are real estate investors. None of my families are real estate investors." So you have that mental belief that you're not a real estate investor, right? But if you want to become one, you need to change that mindset, right? And not let your story stop you from holding you back, basically. Yeah. Number 2 is actually number 2 because this one is really, really important, because for anybody that wants to change and be something different than they were before, they have to have the awareness of that change that they want to have, right? Because if not, you are just going to be that same person having those same habits and nothing's going to change. Right. Jim Rohn has a quote, it's like, if you want to change, it's like, for you to change, you have to change. And it's just a matter of deciding, but being aware that enough is enough, right? And some people need that rock bottom to decide that they do want to change. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's just awareness that can help them. So I like that one. The other one is number 5. It says, "When the why has heart, the how will get legs." And that one is one that I heard from John Vroman. He was actually my speaking coach for a little while. And in that one, he has a keynote speech. And in it, he talks about this quote. And I took it to heart because I was like, holy crap, it's true. Because when I ran my marathon in 2013, when the why has heart, the how gets legs, I wrote down 26 names in my hands, 13 in one name in one hand, 13 in the other ones, and I dedicated that mile to that person. So whenever I was feeling tired and exhausted on mile 18 or 19 or 20, I will look down and I dedicated that mile for that person, and I will imagine them at the end of the mile giving me a high five, right? And it was that how that why actually gave more powers. It's a mental game at the end of the day, right? But at the end of the day, mental is what makes us be able to achieve things or not. So that was one of the things. When the why has heart, the how will get legs. And that's why I believe that having a strong enough why helps you achieve what you want to achieve. Because if not, you will create excuses. Yeah. Right? And that goes into my other one, the fourth one, which is you grow into the conversations that you are around. You grow into the conversations that you are around. And I just mentioned John Vroman as my speaking coach. And what's interesting about that one is that he had a mastermind group called the Great Eight. And I knew that I wanted to give a TEDx talk in the future, but I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I didn't know. But then what ended up happening is 2 people from that group, from the Grade 8, got into TEDx talks. And then it became the next questions, like all those conversations came, hey guys, let's set a goal that everybody here is gonna give a TEDx talk. So we grew into our conversations of us coming from, hey, let's see if how do we write a speech, to all of a sudden, the norm became we're all going to be TEDx speakers by the end of this mastermind. I was like, holy crap. So number one, it put me uncomfortable, right? Because I was like, I came here just to learn how to get a 30-minute speech and that's it. Not a TEDx talk quality type of, it puts you in a different level of I would say, not achievement, but different levels of conversations, because now you're like, okay, how do you write something that's going to be so impactful to be in the TEDx talk, and how do you apply and all of that stuff, right? So that was really cool.
It puts you in a mindset that you can achieve it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now for you, Ward, what's been I know that, for example, going to FI Investors events or being part of those groups has elevated your levels of conversations. Have you chatted a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I volunteered. Obviously, we have the FI Investors events. I volunteered for GoAbundance for about a year now. And the biggest thing is be in rooms with people that are 10, 20, 30 steps ahead of you. Their everyday problem that they're trying to solve will be a problem that you probably didn't realize would be a problem.
Exactly.
Because you haven't gotten there yet.
Exactly. And that actually gives you the shortcut too, right? Because like you mentioned, you didn't know that was going to be a problem. And when it comes to it, it's actually not a problem because you already have the solution.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then the way to go fast is to learn from others. And then when that same problem comes up, know the solution before it happens.
Yes. That is key.
And that's how you do it. Get in those rooms.
Yes, exactly. All right. Number 5 is not all money is equal. There is good money, which is money that recharges you, and there's bad money, which is money that drains you. And that's something that I've learned throughout my career, through the different businesses that I've had, different ways that I've made money. I've understood that sometimes it's not worth it to go for that money, because money is going to hit your money, like the money is going to hit the numbers in your bank account, right? But it's more about what it took you to make that money and how stressed maybe you were. Was it necessary to go through all of that stuff just so that you can make, as an example, an extra $1,000? I learned that not all money is equal, and that there are things that one can ask themselves, right? It's like, is the money that I'm making, is it worth it? Yeah. Because sometimes I've learned that letting go of opportunities just because you were going to make a lot of money, it's not worth it at the end of the day. Right. Because you're stressed, you are like, there's just so many things, so many people demanding things from you depending on what those things are. And I went to a position that it is not worth it, right? But then at that point, you can ask yourself, okay, what can I do to, like, either you step away completely or you delegate those things. It just depends. But again, awareness of it, and then deciding the money, right? Because money is great, but it's like the energy, like how do you feel making that money? And then the time. Sometimes the time is not worth it either.
Right.
So yeah, that was number 5. The other one is that fear is the only thing that gets smaller the more that you run towards it. Fear is the only thing that gets smaller the more that you run towards it. And that comes with just acting also like with courage, right? Courage is what you do in spite of fear at the end of the day. And the more that you do it, the less fear you have, the easier it's gonna get to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever had one of those situations where you were like, in the beginning you were
Absolutely.
scared, and then
Yeah, I mean, the example I'll give, shout out to all the rookies out there that are trying to buy their first rental property. When I was under contract, it was the day of closing. I did my final walk. And I had my mom come out actually to the property and do the final walk with me. And she hadn't seen the property before. She wasn't there for the inspection. And I was super excited, and she was really, really nervous, right? She hadn't invested in real estate. She knew that I was putting down a pretty large lump sum of cash. And I'll never forget what she told me. She basically told me, don't move forward with this. Don't call me if you have issues with this, because this will, like, quote unquote, like, ruin your life.
oh man.
And I got really, really fearful.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, I closed on the house. It's been one of the best investments as far as an equity play that I've had, and cash flow, actually. One of the best, not best cash flow, but one of the best cash flow plays that I've done. And then I closed on 3 properties within, 12 months later. It just gets so much easier, right? That first time you do something, there's a wall of fear, and you can run right through that wall.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be starting that journey.
Yeah. Now, let's say that if you were to buy another property right there in that same city or whatever, you would, my guess is that you would have a lot less fear, and you'll be like, yeah, let's just get it. Or we go through the inspection, negotiate it, but it becomes easier. I
mean, assuming I'm mitigating my risks and my exposure is on an acceptable level, and my risk tolerance isn't being extended.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. No, but that's good.
What about you? What's when you were first starting out, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were 23, 24, what was a major fear that you had, and how'd you overcome it?
Man, you mentioned real estate, right? I had a fear of public speaking a lot because of my stutter. And I know I haven't stuttered in these podcasts or whatever, but there's been times that I have, and I will, just because of my situation, right? And I've been stuttering since I was 5. But by me actually, like, putting myself in positions where I was able to practice my speech more and more, and I knew what to talk about, what to share. I became more confident, right? Yeah. And there's also tricks that I have that people may not know in the back end, but that I do every time I give a speech, like doing some Tony Robbins exercises. I memorized my TEDx talk word for word, so that I didn't have to think about the fear of being there, because if I did, I would think about it and then I would stutter, right? But if I memorized everything, then I'm not nervous, then I wouldn't stutter.
Yeah.
So I memorized everything word for word, practiced it probably 1,000 times, but it was totally worth it. But that is a fear, for example, that has diminished the more that I've done it. Yeah. Now, if you're like, Diego, can you speak for 30 minutes on stage? I'll do it like super easy.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I was afraid. I was, oh my gosh, like I would hear my heart just like bumping, and like it was a lot. But you just have to work at it, right? And be okay. acting in spite of that fear, because I know that the more that I share my story, the more impact I can make.
Yeah.
So so then it just became that.
Yeah. And also huge kudos to you because not only has that fear gotten smaller, but it's like you said, it's completely gone. You were at the White House, maybe a month ago at this
Yes.
point. You were the keynote speaker at a major KW conference within that same week.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even count the amount of real estate conferences that you've either been the keynote or been a major speaker at.
I appreciate that.
So
Yes. Yeah. So, but again, it comes with practice, right? It comes with practice, having your knowledge and everything, and acting in spite of that fear.
Yep.
So for sure. All right, number 6 or 7, we'll see. This is something that's good. Is anything worth doing is worth doing poorly in the beginning. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly in the beginning, and this goes out there to all of the real estate investors looking to get started. In the beginning, you may not know a lot of the things. You might make mistakes. Of course, being part of a group shortens that. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, like, it's worth it. Yeah. One of the things that I want to do is I want to learn how to play the guitar or an instrument. And I know that in the beginning, dude, I'm going to suck. My brother plays freaking amazing, the guitar. He plays the drums, everything. I never got to do that, but it's something that I do want to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know I'm going to suck in the beginning, but I know that later, once I do it, it's going to feel amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll say on the real estate piece, right? There are things that you want to make sure you do to mitigate your risk. That doesn't mean buy a bad deal. Mm-hmm. That means that you may just not hit that home run, and it's better to get the repetitions than not do it at all.
Yes.
So make sure your cash on cash hits. Make sure that you can actually rent it out, check the demand, learn to mitigate your risk, take the necessary steps to do so from what you've learned, and then take action.
Exactly. All right, the next one.
I think this is number 8, right?
Yes, number 8.
Yeah, I think that was 7.
Yes.
Cool.
This is a good one. We shouldn't judge others because we don't know if we had the same experience, we would have done the same thing. We shouldn't judge others because we don't know if we had the same experience, we would have done the same thing. Mm-hmm. This is something that I learned from Hal Elrod. I heard him give a speech at a GoBundance event. It was more like a smaller event, but it was really good because at the end of the day, we shouldn't be judging anybody, and especially, for example, like our parents. One of the things that he mentioned was they have done the best with what the tools that they were given, right? With the best with what they had. Mm-hmm. from that perspective. And a lot of people, we don't know, like we might be judging other people, but we don't know if earlier that day their dog died or something happened that throws them off, and now they're having a bad day. Right. So it's like being a little bit more understanding of other people and knowing that if they messed up or something, maybe you would have done the same thing if you had experienced the same thing that maybe they experienced that day, right? So it's just being more self-aware, and have more understanding, being more understanding of people. Yeah,
I really like that.
Yeah, cool. And the other one, and this is something that it says, no amount of money is worth doing if you cannot sleep well at night. This goes a little bit with what I mentioned earlier of there's good money and bad money. But again, if you cannot sleep well at night, it doesn't matter if you have an extra $100,000 in your bank account. If for a month you're not sleeping well.
Yeah.
If you go to bed and you can only sleep 3 hours every single day, it is not gonna be worth it, no matter what. And this goes for everybody too, to just there are some times where you can make money very easily.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it. If you know that things are not being done the right way, stuff like that, I'm like, hey, it's better to just let go of those things. And I learned that in a way where I was in a position where unfortunately I couldn't I was waiting for my papers from immigration for DACA, and I made the most money at that time in my career as a realtor, and I couldn't sleep well at night because if I drove and a car hit me or I got stopped by a cop, I could have gotten deported. And I was like, sure, it doesn't matter if I made $40,000 in 1 month if I cannot sleep well.
That's so good.
So yeah. And and we'll end it with this one. This is something that it's a little bit like easy or cliche or whatever, but I feel it's something that it's better. Like a lot of people don't give themselves the grace that they need. And the quote is, "The world needs you right now, not when you're perfect." And again, it goes to what I said in the beginning of like having that story. Some people might say, I'm not worthy yet to help other people. I'm not worthy yet. Let's say that, hey, you might have like 3 properties or whatever, and you might feel like, oh, I cannot share until I have 10 or 20. But I believe that you can shine your light in other people now based on the experiences that you have, rather than just waiting until perfect, because perfect doesn't exist at the end of the day. There's always going to be lessons. There's always going to be mistakes that one is going to do. And it's better to start shining your light now than in the future. So those are the lessons that we wanted to share. There's 23 other more on that post on Instagram. So give me a follow. And send us either FI Investors IG or at Real Diego Corzo, the number 33, and we will get you the PDF of it. But Ward, what did you think of all of these?
I loved it, man. There's a lot of other good ones. Another one that I'll add kind of as a bonus from the 33. Love is spelled Time.
Time, yes. That is something that Pat Hyben actually has. He has a tattoo either on his arm or on his leg. Love is spelled time, Time. Yeah. And that is really important. That is really important. A lot of people feel like that they're just doing a lot of things, right? Because they love their family and they're doing it for their family. Yeah. But a lot of the time, the thing that they need the most is for you to be present, just more of your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how that's outside of real estate as well.
Exactly.
I love it.
Cool. Well, Ward, thank you very much for listening to my top 10. This was a great Financially Free Fridays, and we'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good, Diego. Looking forward to it.
Thank you for listening to the FI Investors Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And share this with a fellow real estate investor who you think would find value in what we do. Until next time.